This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, welcoming you to another informative episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 324. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your show host, and we're going to visit with Logan Erdman today. Logan is part of the Legacy Outdoors team, and our team and crew of Michigan hunters traveling the country, filming a TV show, which, by the way, is going to air in 2018. They're following their dreams and having a lot of adventures. His number one passion is bow hunting. Meat, 100%, rules my life. The show is dedicated to Uncle Jack. Listen to the show and find out why Uncle Jack was so important in Logan's life. It's never too early to think about food plots. Whitetail Rendezvous has an ebook for you. Just simply text 33444 food plot to get your copy. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. Hey, we're heading out to Ohio, and we're going to meet up with Logan Erdman. And Logan's a ProStaff member for Legacy Outdoors. Logan, welcome to the show.
Howdy, Bruce. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Actually, I'm just completely, my office is looks like a bomb went off. I was at ATA all week, had a great time at ATA. We'll talk a little bit about that during the show, but it's like catch up, and I'm going, oh my goodness. And my grandson's got a basketball game tonight, and the Packers are playing Sunday afternoon, and life is good. How about for you?
Great, man. Great. Yeah, I was looking at pictures of the ATA show on the old Facebook there, and it looks like a great time, man. So that I'm a little jealous that you just got back, even though your office looks like a bomb went off.
That's no lie. If you looked at it, you go, how did you find your computer and your microphone?
Yeah, I'm a little jealous, man. The ATA show looks like a lot of fun. And,
it is.
I'd like to get there one day myself,
Yeah, and it's a matter of, building your business and building legacy, and it's a great group of people, and it's just a thrill to see all the new gear, all the new equipment. Plus, then you start building relationships with people in the industry, and like I've said many times before, it's a Kip Adams from Quality Deer Management. I went to one of his seminars and said, the total outdoor industry is about $87 billion. And we've got about $47 billion of that, in the hunting whitetail industry. And there's 11 million of us that hunt. So we're in a big pond, but when it all comes down, we're all on common ground, and it's really a small community. Your thoughts on that?
I agree with you there. It's good. I've noticed this year more people are picking up bows, whether it be crossbows or compound bows, and I've seen so many people in the pro shop when I go in there, and it's such a good thing to see. We need more kids getting involved. We need more people getting involved in the sport, because so many people are disconnected from getting your own meat. That whole process, the hunt of the meat, that's what really gets me going is good, what do you want to call it? Processed, and they just pump it full of hormones and all these steroids and whatever they're doing to this meat. I don't even know what they do to the store-bought meat. So that's what gets me going. And I think people need to be connected with the earth a little bit more, the nature a little bit more, because the people that don't hunt, man, they're missing out. Whether it be eagles and owls that you see while you're out and about, or just watching squirrels in their natural environment. But when it happens and you get that meat, man, it's the best thing in the world to me. Anyway, I think more people need to get into that, experience that.
We were going to go a different way in the warm-up, but let's just stay right on that thread. Talk to me about your hunting heritage, how it began, and why you are a hunter.
My grandfather hunted, and he lives in Tennessee, so I haven't really been around him a whole lot. But his son, Jack, was my uncle, and he used to take me bow hunting with him. He'd take me to set up his tree stands, and he'd always set up two, one for me, or we'd go out and we'd make a ground blind together. And he bought me my first set of camo, my first hunting boots, and I was just his little hunting buddy. And it kind of stems back to that legacy thing. My uncle was taken from me when I was about 11 years old in a motorcycle accident. So it was my favorite family member, at a really young age for me, gone just like that. And it was kind of eye-opening. So I grew up a little bit and no hunting. My dad doesn't hunt. My grandfather hunted. He lives in Tennessee, though, so I don't really get to see him that often. So high school comes, and, you remember back in high school when you're faced at that fork in the road, and you got to make decisions that ultimately affect your life in the grand scheme of things. They're life-changing decisions. And I didn't really like where I was at in life. I went to school to weld. I got a bunch of welding certifications, and I knew I could work and make a living, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was thinking, what would my uncle be proud of? And I was like, well, I remember bow hunting with him, and I love nature, I love the woods, like maybe I ought to get me a bow. So I bought myself a crossbow and dabbled with it, I sighted it in and went out a couple times. My first season, never saw a deer, and after a couple seasons of that, I finally connected with the deer, man, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Two guys in my life that impacted my hunting, Otto Knight and then Harry Shear. And I've been hunting whitetails for 50 years, and I still go back to the same family farm that the guy in 1966 invited me to. So when I look at my hunting heritage, I look back at Otto Knight, and he used to take me out and hunt rabbits and squirrels and raccoons and just about anything that walked, actually. So I can sure feel exactly what it is that makes you a hunter, and folks, listeners, hunting isn't just killing something. That's the period at the end of a long journey. And Logan, talk to me about what I just said. Share with the listeners, how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's the farthest thing from just killing something. People think I go out there, I crush a beer can and just open fire, and that's not it at all. I climb up in that tree stand and I'm with my uncle, or my uncle is with me, so to speak. We're just because he's not here doesn't mean he's not with me, and that's how I stay connected with him. And I just remember fond memories of giggling in the tree stand at his jokes and just carrying on the legacy that he left here for me, using what he taught me and just being the best I can be for what I thought he would want me to be. You know what I mean? Because that's what's important. I like to make my family proud. I want to make my mom proud. I don't want to be a bum. I want my dad to be proud of me. I want my mom to be proud of me. And I sure would have want my uncle to be proud of me. And I think he'd be thrilled. I think if he was still here, he'd be amazed at the progress I've made over the past couple of years. Because I'm going bear hunting, I'm going elk hunting left and right, and just killing some pretty good deer, putting lots of meat in the freezer, and learning how to cook it too, man. I love to cook. So I think if he was still around, he'd be really proud of me.
Now, where are you going to go hunt? I live in Colorado. What unit are you going to hunt?
28. I'll be in 28.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at your bio. I'll be in Colorado Lottery. Oh, so you're putting in for the tag, because I'm thinking, no, the tags don't come out till May, June. So you're putting in for the Colorado Lottery.
This year for mule deer. I haven't had a deer tag for Colorado yet, so
Okay,
I'd like to draw a deer tag. But the elk tag's there over the counter for non-residents.
Right. In some places.
Pricey. Some places. But I usually go out there. I get a over-the-counter tag, and I try my hand every year on some public land out there, and we have a blast doing it.
What unit do you hunt?
28.
Okay, 28 for deer and for elk?
Yeah. I got a nice stretch of public land out there that I like to tackle every year.
Well, don't say anything more.
With hunters.
Yeah, don't say anything more. 28,
it's
28.
Secret Creek, we call it.
Yeah, don't say it. I had a guy, Jason Reed, he's actually a Crossman, and he's a DIY hunter, and he headed out to Wyoming, and they got into elk, and yeah, he didn't get one with his bow, but in Wyoming he was able to go back with a rifle, and he shot just a wonderful elk, and I asked him, I said, well, what unit? And then he told me, and then he called me back, said, could you take that unit off? So I went back, but units and units, and you don't want to tell drainages and access roads and stuff like that. That's my personal knowledge there. Yeah, you just gotta really
But you know what? The country's out there and the animals are out there. So if you're brave enough, I mean, I found myself 12 to 15 miles from the truck in an afternoon. So it's not like I'm driving with a spotting scope. Yeah, I got a bow in my hand, and we're getting it. We're getting into where the animals live. We're being part of their system. You know what I mean? We're learning. We're not on a four-wheeler, cruising around, stopping, walking 10 yards, and then bugling. There's a lot of that out there.
Oh yeah, and let me just say, listeners, if you hunt Colorado DIY and you go out thinking that you're going to get an elk, yeah, you may get an elk, but I'm just going to say it's going to take you 2 to 3 years to figure out your hunting area. Now, your hunting area could be 10 square miles. It could even be larger, or it could be smaller, just depending. But be prepared to spend the time to learn where you're hunting, and then you'll be amazed, because all of a sudden you'll graduate and it'll become, oh man, all I have to do is get the X, Big Tree X, or Big Rock X, or Little Creek X, or this Box Canyon, and I know where they're going to be, what time they're going to be there, why they're going to be there, because elk are no different than whitetails. They need food, cover, and water. They're no different.
Right.
But they kind of live in big country. It's not a back 40.
Oh, and it's thick country, too. You want to talk about some dark timber, man. I've been in some places to where it's just like, why am I here right now? And what am I doing here? Like, am I out off my rocker crazy for being here right now? And you just got to get comfortable being miserable, basically,
That's a nice way to say it. That really is. That's a good way to say it, because it's going to take the best you to figure out how to do it, and it's going to push you if you hunt hard. If you just, like Logan said, jump on a four-wheeler and long distance class, which is nothing wrong with long distance classing, but sooner or later you got to get off the four-wheeler. You got to get a minimum or a mile or two away from any trail. And it's
absolutely.
That could be a fire service trail, that could be an ATV trail, or that could be a cow trail, that could be, off a trailhead, a marked fire service, hiking trail. You have to get away from those places, hunting elk. And, when you think about it, and I'm going to spin it back to whitetail right now. When you think about it, a whitetail woods is a minimocosm. What am I trying to say? Micro? No, it's not micro. It's minicosm. A minicosm of elk terrain, simply because food, cover, and water. So let's talk about your 2016 hunt and then we'll roll into Legacy Outdoors.
Excellent, man. 2016, it was a big year for me. I like to go up to Maine and bear hunt every year, and we were up there last year, and I took my girlfriend with me, and she has never really hunted. One, by herself. Two, seeing animals. Three, getting her heart racing and trying to draw a bow, because she's shooting a Hoyt, a compound bow, and she's actually pretty good with it now. So I took her up there with me, and the season before last season, she had been out for deer a couple times. We had seen 3 deer together, and it got her heart racing a little bit, but so we go up to Maine. I bring her up there, and the guy drops her off at her tree stand, and monster black bear comes in the first hour of the first night.
No way.
You know, and unfortunately, she missed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's got it all on film too. She missed, which was, I think, partly her nerves, partly the guide told her it was a 20-yard shot. And she said it felt farther than 20, and I guess he ranged it with his rangefinder the next day, and it was like 24 yards. And in the video, she just barely shoots right under the bear. So she's a lucky girl, I think. Her first solo hunt and her first time ever pulling her bow back or drawing her bow on an animal was a bear up in Maine. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, she didn't see a bear the rest of the week. So this season comes around, and my good friend Matt Tinker up in Maine up there, he's a moose guide, a bear guide, and he's a really good guy. He's a world champion moose caller. Matt, he's a great guide. He posted something on his Facebook that said, "Hey, I got some openings. Blah, 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 first come, first serve," you know. So I messaged him, "Hey, you have any slots left?" And I asked her, "Hey, would you want to go back up to Maine and give it another crack for a bear?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So we hooked up with Matt. We go up there opening week of Maine bear season, and we hunt hard all week long. Saw a mom and some cubs, had a really good experience, saw a bunch of moose, and comes down to the last 20 minutes of the last day of the hunt. And bear comes in, and she just smoked him, man. He ran about 60 yards and fell over. It was a great time. So being able to sit in the ground blind with her and videotape her first bear is priceless for me, man. I think I was more excited for her than I would have been myself shooting a bear, you know, and that's what it's all about, you know.
Yeah, I can't, I'm sitting here thinking, man, she had to be so excited, and then you're sharing it with her, and, that's a cool thing to do. I mean, that, to share the adventure, because in the past, because just how I worked and stuff, I did a lot of DIY hunting, and that's how I chose to do it. And, and sometimes I miss the camaraderie, which I get in, our deer camp in Wisconsin every fall. And, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to share the experience either through stories, just like on the podcast here, Logan. You're sharing stories with thousands of people, and I think that's cool.
It is really neat, man. And it's, and I'm sharing my uncle's legacy that he left for me with her. And then maybe one day she can share it with somebody else. And, if it just keeps getting passed down from the generations and the friends and the people, there's just so much to enjoy about this. And I try to lean away from calling it a sport, because I feel like putting the word sport on, harvesting some awesome, amazing meat that not even money could buy, it's weird, because when I think of sports or, basketball, football, I don't know, and I feel like the anti-hunters have some fuel when we refer to it as a sport, like, look at these people just going out to kill for fun when really, it's more than that. It's like you said, camaraderie. It's sharing that moment. I'll never forget the look on her face after she smoked that bear, and it was, she placed a perfect shot on him. She practiced all summer long. All those hours we spent practicing together, hanging out, talking about the moment, when it finally came down to it, man, it's priceless stuff, and that's stuff that I'll take to my grave with me, like those fond memories.
Well, that's a great segue into Legacy Outdoors. Let's tell the listeners, but before we do, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can log on to Facebook, and you can either find me under my personal name and shoot me a message. I'm always good to reply. Or you can log on to the Legacy Outdoors Facebook page, and either myself or Mike or one of the other team members will always be there for you, and we got some pretty cool videos that we've been posting, little segments. There's some tips, tricks, updates on our season and what's going on. I know pro staffer Mike Hale out there has been knocking down some ducks lately, and it looks like a whole lot of fun. They're up in Michigan, and I'm down here in Ohio, so they're doing all kinds of stuff without me up there.
Well, that's no fun, man. What's up with that?
Yeah, I got to get up there.
What's up with that?
I'd like to get up there and do some waterfowl hunting.
Yeah. So, Facebook, we got Twitter. How about Twitter? What's your handle there?
You know what? I'm not sure if we have a Twitter account.
Okay. So we can get Facebook, and then what about your email address?
I would like to give you the Legacy's email address, but I don't know it offhand. Actually, I'm so new to the team. They just put me on a couple months ago, actually.
Okay,
so I'm pretty fresh here.
Okay, so here's the Legacy Outdoors. It's MICH Whitetail Hunter. Mitch is for Michigan, Whitetail Hunter at yahoo.com. So if somebody there it is. And so just go out, reach out to them, and they will get a hold of Logan for you. How's that?
Excellent. That sounds great.
So what do you do at Legacy? What's your mission? Why are you doing what you're doing there?
Well, we all love to hunt, and I believe we all love to film. And I believe we all share the same beliefs in that, passing it down, sharing this wonderful opportunity that we have in the great outdoors. There's just so much out there. Back to the public land thing, you get out there, it's a whole nother world out there. When you lose cell phone service and you get out there, there's just so much that nature has to offer. And I think a lot of people have been disconnected from that. And just people that love the outdoors and are passing that legacy down to them. We love being a part of that. We like to see people's success pictures, people hanging out with family at deer camp. We love it, and we love to share our films and stories and tales all with them. It's we just like to be a part of the community. Like you said, it's a big pond, but really it's a small community. I think there's more anti-hunters out there nowadays, almost,
Well, there's 11 million. I was at ATA, and I listened to Kip Adams from Quality Deer Management, and 11 million whitetail hunters, and someplace north of $45 billion we throw into the economy. So, it's a pretty big pond. And, yeah, a lot of people raise their voices and get the sound bites, but there's a lot of us that talk about the same things we're talking about. You're talking about a legacy. You're talking about bringing your girlfriend, into the tree stand and into the hunting world and working with her and helping her be successful. So, there's millions of us doing that. And sometimes we just don't let our voice be heard. So that's one thing that podcasts and writing an article helps to do. And by you sharing, that somebody else will go, wow, I never thought about it that way, or whatever, and they'll get more vocal and more involved because, we are under siege. And a friend of mine, Blake Alma, wrote a book, The Hunter's War, and he's going to be on the show this weekend. That's 114, 115 is the 2-part show. So people, you're already going to miss it. But Blake Alma, Hunter's War, check him out on Amazon. So let's talk about your love for hunting. We've been talking about it, but specifically share with the listeners your love for hunting, and then we'll close the show.
Well, my love for hunting, I guess it starts with the love of my bow. I love shooting my bow, and it's a combination of meat and archery, which is, who doesn't love a steak? I love meat. I love to cook. So having good, pure meat that I've harvested myself, and I do all my processing myself. So from beginning to end, I'm a fabricator. So I like to build things. I like to start and finish projects. I like to see things through. I like to be a part of the process, and putting my own meat on the table is such a wonderful feeling, I know where it came from. I know whose hands touched it, and I know that I worked really hard all year long, every year with my bow out there shooting arrows every day after work, and working hard. I mean, putting out mineral sites for the deer, putting in food plots. There's so much work. It's keeping me fit. There's so much to love about this sport. You get trail cameras into the mix. Oh my gosh, man, I love trail cameras. It could be a spike buck on there, and I just am like a kid at Christmas sitting under the Christmas tree with all them gifts. You know what I mean? Like, I love looking at deer. Trail cameras are one of my favorite things. I can't get enough of them, man. I'd stick one on every tree in the woods if I could afford it,
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I just, there's so much I love about this hunting, man. There's a lot of land out there. I love a challenge too. When you throw filming in with bow hunting, that's like almost the ultimate challenge, because you want to get good film, but you also need to focus on your shot. There's so much going on. When you're by yourself, it's a great challenge. Yeah, there's a lot. I could talk all day about hunting with you, Bruce. I really could. I love every aspect of it. I recommend it. It will change your life. It will. If you're in a dark spot in your life, pick up a bow and start shooting that thing, man, and you'll clear your head and go out and get you some steaks and butcher that thing up and fill your freezer up, man. You cannot be sad or depressed if you have a freezer full of good old deer steaks and a hot grill to cook them on, man. It used to be enough for people, having something to eat and having your family, and it used to be enough for people. Now people are pretty disconnected, like I've been saying, and I recommend everybody should have a bow and be shooting that thing all the time. Do these, even if you don't want to kill stuff, go shoot some 3D competitions. Shoot some, get together with some friends and play lawn darts, yard darts. There's a lot of good 3D shoots out there with a lot of good courses and a lot of fun people, and you meet a lot of cool people and you see a lot of cool things when you get out there, and you're part of that archery family. So you don't have to be just killing things and eating them like me. 3D shoots are fun too.
Well, Logan, we're at the time of the show. You've got a minute or two to give some shout outs, and then we're going to wrap the show.
All right, Bruce. Well, I'd like to thank the guys over at Legacy for letting me be a part of this. Mike Kramer, Mike Hale, and Cody, and Abby, and Jacob. They're good guys, and they're doing the right thing. Their heads are in the right spot. They're making some pretty good film, and getting people involved and spending time with family, and that's what I like to see. So thank you guys at Legacy, and Carol, for letting me hunt her property. It's good to have a nice land to hunt, and I'm a nature freak, man, and I like a nice kept up property, managed, and it's just great to be able to do that, better the environment. Like feeding deer, I'm done hunting. I'm still dropping them corn. I'm starting my mineral sites for next year, so I just like to feed, even if the birds and the coons eat it. That's cool too, I just like feeding. So thank you, Carol, for letting me hunt her property, and thank you everybody for listening, and thanks, just friends, family. Thanks, everybody. I can't do it without good people like you guys. So that's what keeps us going. And thank you, Bruce, for having me on the show and let me ramble. And I could do this all night, man.
All right, man. We got to call it a show. And on behalf of thousands of listeners across North America, Logan, thank you so much for being a guest, and I can't wait to catch up with you in a couple months and see what the heck's going on.
Absolutely, man. We got some good footage coming your guys' way, so check some of that out. It's good stuff. We're just, like you said, real people. We're doing real things in the real woods, and
Hey, listen in to the next episode of Whitetail Roundabout. It's going to be part 2 of Jeremy Berlin. Jeremy's out of Wisconsin. He took a 192 bow hunting last year in Vernon County, Wisconsin. He knows how to hunt mature bucks. Listen up.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.